Doing all right. Excited to talk some Bucks. I feel like we need to really address the Bucks fans. I feel like they once again feel like the sky is falling and we're doomed and we'll never like the franchise is about to leave. That's kind of the vibe I get. So we have to really kind of try to calm some of these people out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a lot of those takes still out there. At the same time, 6-2 in the last eight
Yeah.
games, which is surprising because it was the end of the world and the Bucks were losing to bad teams, good teams. Everyone they played didn't look good. Um, so I'm not sure. We can talk about whether they've turned things around or it's just a weird little blip here, or what exactly is going on. The big change is we got Thomas and Jang actually playing games. I think the last time we spoke, the trades just happened and the signing just happened, but I don't know if they've played any games. So now they've played 5 games each. The Bucks are 3-2 in those 5 games, and like I said, they've looked pretty good. But yeah, I'll let you take it from there. What are your first reactions?
Yeah, I mean, I understand why Bucks fans were upset. We were losing to teams we should have easily beaten. There's no rhyme or reason for what we were doing. Like we would, have a great game against Golden State, and then we'd play Washington and just like look like the worst team in the league. Like I can understand it. So I think we talked before. Like I was a little hesitant on Cam Thomas because Brooklyn couldn't trade him. So I was like, all right, well, what's wrong with him that nobody wants him? But of course, as soon as I said that, he gets released, signs with the Bucks like an hour later, and I'm like, okay, well, this is this is just what it is. Um, but I think what's been really helping is it's going to be shocking, but Doc is actually doing a decent thing by not playing these new guys for like 30 plus minutes. He's not. I don't think he's figured out how to play them and when to play them exactly, but a typical Doc thing would be like, all right, this guy has one good game, let's play him 35 minutes. It's like, well, hold on, like that doesn't work like that. So I feel like he's at a little restraint. I don't understand some of the minutes that have been kind of coming and going, but I mean, Cam Thomas seems to be what we thought Gary Trent Jr. was going to be. And Gary Trent would have flashes. You'd have, a great game, but there was no consistency. And lately, I barely see him play, which I don't miss at all. I don't know what happened to the guy because he really thought, first of all, he thought he was going to be a great free agent. Nobody wanted him. Came to Milwaukee to prove himself and just doesn't seem to figure it out. So I don't really know what's going on there. And then, um, how do you say the guy's last name? Cheng?
I think Jang.
Jeng? Yeah, I can never say it right. It's not spelled any way that it's pronounced. So
Yeah,
anybody
and it
that's
doesn't.
listening, like that, you're gonna get messed up all the time. Um, but he looks good. I mean, like a young scorer, and seems to bring a lot of energy. I think it's helping guys like KPJ and Rollins, and AJ Green seems to be in a weird spot right now. I don't know if his shot's off or he's had problems with defense, but he doesn't seem to be getting as many minutes as he used to, and the shots aren't there. But I like some of these young pieces, and I think that's one of the things that like really bothers me. So I'm just gonna kind of get into a tangent right away. Is Seth and I listened to the podcast The Goat, and we like both people, like the podcast. It's great. But Ben Golliver was on Locked On Bucks, and his take has always been this is like a divorce waiting to happen. Everybody can see it, and it's just going to happen. But I just maybe I'm an idiot, and I just don't understand how if Giannis goes to another team, they're a title contender. But if he stays in Milwaukee, there's no chance in hell that the Bucks will ever be a title contender. I don't understand that. Like any team he goes to is going to involve putting pieces around him, and that's what the Bucks are doing. So I don't know if I get it. I still think it's the narrative I've had before. People just don't understand why people want to play in Milwaukee or live in Wisconsin. But I can't understand that. I don't understand how Giannis in another team is a contender, but in Milwaukee, not even close. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And he's saying for 5 years. He actually did spell
Yes.
that out on the podcast finally, because usually you don't get that spelled out. It's just kind of, it seems like they're just living in like right now this year. But he did say, next 5 years. So he's pretty much saying the Bucks don't have a chance for 5 years, and that you could kind of point to they don't have their own picks. You know, they don't even have first round picks a couple of those years. They don't have the assets to trade. You know, I mean, they have some stuff. They can do something, but they're pretty limited with what they can do, and that would maybe be the argument that they're not going to do anything. But yeah, it's pretty extreme to just jump to they can't do anything. And 5 years is a long time. I mean, 2-3 years from now, we're going to have 2-3 more years of picks, the assets to trade, and all of that, which are probably going to be look pretty good to other teams because they're thinking the Bucks, you know, assuming Giannis stays, that in 5 years, you know, now he's older and not good, maybe, and the Bucks are going to be terrible. And then if we trade those picks, like, we don't have anything. So, yeah, I mean, anyhow, it's definitely like a road for the Bucks to do something. Right now, it's pretty difficult. That's like fair enough. But to say that it's impossible, it's not going to happen for the next 5 years is just dumb. And he was kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth because he was at the same time making some comments about how some teams can really turn it around. He was pointing to Phoenix, Phoenix Suns, like completely turned it around after losing a Kevin Durant, you know, all-time great player type guy. And they didn't really dig into that too much, but it's kind of like, well, do you think the Suns like are legitimate? Like, can they do something? Because they were in a horrible spot with the Bradley Beal situation. Was kind of similar to the Damian Lillard situation, like in certain ways. Obviously not the same thing, but they also waived a player who's getting paid $50 million or whatever. So pretty similar situation. I would say it looked a lot worse for them, and somehow they are playing pretty well this year. I'm not sure how that happened, but that did happen. It can happen. It's something that no one would have said was going to happen. In the same way, everyone says the Bucks are going to suck forever, and it's like maybe next year they're competing for a championship. Like it is possible.
Well, and they always talked about how like Phoenix is such a terribly run organization. So it's like, okay, like if the Bucks are like that, like Phoenix has always been kind of the laughing stock of the sense of like they don't know what they're doing, and they are the types of guys. It's like the Jimmy Haslams where it's like, all right, let's get Durant and Beal and all these guys. Like it's obviously going to work together, but you know, to the point, you get rid of those guys and you're contending immediately. So like, there's something out there, and I think the thing is like, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, have all these opinions, but the problem is their opinions they think are facts and they can't accept another opinion. So they're like, you know, Ben Golliver saying the Bucks can't compete over 5 years. That's your opinion, but that's not fact. Stop talking like it's fact because that's nowhere even close. You know, and then the other thing is like when you hear some of these experts talking about it, it's like, all right, well, if you're not one of the 3 best teams in each conference, don't even bother, right? If you're not one of the 3 best teams, I didn't even know why you play basketball because there's not a chance in hell you're going to win. Okay, well, we all know that in the playoffs, guys get hot. Jimmy Butler took the Heat to the finals because Jimmy Butler all of a sudden got hot. Nobody expected the Heat to do anything. Look at the Pacers. Pacers had a single all-star and went to the finals. You know, it's like the fact that you can say, all right, one of the best players in the entire league on your team somehow doesn't make you a contender, and it's just going to be like a circus, and we're just going to sell tickets to see Giannis limp out there for half a game. It's not like it's the end of his career. I can understand it if he's, you know, if he's on the LeBron tour. Yeah, okay, we're selling tickets to see, you know, Giannis just kind of go out there a couple times and maybe we'll get lucky and see a dunk or something like that. But he's still, you know, a young player. He still wants to compete. I'm blown away. And the other thing is like, all right, let's get all our picks back, right? That's the common thing we talk about. I understand that you want to control your own destiny. You don't want to be like, all right, well, I have, you know, Team A's picks, so I'm hoping that they're bad so that I get good picks later. If you own your own picks, it's like, all right, well, if I am bad, at least I get the draft higher, right? I understand that. I'm not an idiot. But it's not like every person in the draft has been a home run every single year for every team. Like, it's a huge risk. There's constant times where these players are not hitting. I would say it's more likely that they're not going to hit. But it's like, okay, well, all right, the Bucks get their next picks for the next 3 years. You think that means we're automatically turning it around? I don't know. Like, we could easily draft another A.J. Johnson, who is on his 3rd team. Now, keep in mind, when A.J. Johnson went to the Wizards in his first, like, couple games, he had an awesome game. Either
That's right. Yeah.
statistically, or just like he looked impressive, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Bucks messed up. They messed up." The Wizards did not want him. The Washington Wizards did not want a 19-year-old,
And they weren't playing
get
him.
him the hell out of here.
I
Right?
mean, they're horrible. They have every reason to play him.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I should look back. I don't recall he was getting a lot of minutes.
I don't think so either. But it's like, okay, so there's no guarantees that you're going to get someone. Yeah, it'd be great if you had Cooper Flag, Wemby. That doesn't happen all the time. Like, and then Jokic was a late second round pick. Like, there's no this notion that if you're not picking in the top 5, like, why even play? And if you're not one of the top 2 teams, why even play? And then what really pissed me off, and I'll kind of end it with this thing, at least my hate of Ben Golliver for the moment. He brought up the Knicks again. What the hell is why? He brings up the Knicks about how Giannis goes to the Knicks. Somehow this is a team that now can compete. Okay, well, why would the Bucks want a bunch of veterans from any team? I don't care who they are. It's the thing that pissed me off the most, where it's like, hey, Golden State's in the picture. They're offering Draymond Green. Who gives a fuck about Draymond Green? I don't want him on the team. And if I do, what do I get, a year from him or wait till his contract's out? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Until they said, well, what about Jimmy Butler? Oh, yeah, I forgot. The guy that has a torn Achilles is the guy we want instead. By the way, he's also old as shit, too. Like, I'm just fired up. I just don't understand him. You might have to calm me down.
Well, one thing I thought of was the Detroit Pistons, who have the best record in the league, or maybe second best, same amount of losses as Oklahoma City. They were 14-68 2 years ago. Like, was anyone? If anyone would have said, like, hey, Detroit might be like number 1 seed competing for a championship in 2 years, like, everyone would laugh at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, of course, it's not going to happen. Well, here they are 2 years later, and last year they were 6th seed, 44-38. So I guess you take steps as teams, but I mean they were horrible, and I think Cade was hurt that year. I'm pretty sure. So I guess that's one reason they were worse. But that's one player, that you could point to as to like why were they so much better the next year, and why are they like so good right now? Okay, well they have like a guy who's playing like a top 5 guy. He's probably going to be the MVP, partially because of the 65 game rule.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's going to be the guy. So if you have Giannis, and if Giannis is playing at a top 5 level still next year, 2 years, and not hurt, I guess that's fair enough concern. But if he is, like, it's just a matter of building around that guy. It's just a matter of building around Cade Cunningham, these best players in the world, Luka, whatever. So. And there are young pieces that you could point to and have optimism as to like how good can Ryan Rollins get? AJ Green, can he get better? AJ Green's on-off numbers somehow are like ridiculously good, because it's like sometimes he'll have a game he's like 0 for 6, but he's still like +8, or whatever. But he has the second best on-off, second to Giannis on the team. So he's just a positive player. And, when he's out there, I'm usually not upset about him or thinking he's making mistakes all that. He's just like a solid player, plus is an extremely good shooter. In some games he's making 8 threes or whatever. So anyway, there are pieces there. Plus you could do something. Who knows what you could do? We got 3 picks next year that we could potentially trade, and we could sign a free. I don't know who's a free agent that's available. There's sign and trades that happen. Like, it's possible. I guess that's the main point. And we're sick of hearing people write off the Bucks as if there's no chance, especially in like a long term, like let's say Giannis re-signs. It's like he's re-signing for nothing, no hope. Like, that's just not serious talk, I guess.
Yeah, and I think I get pissed off at Bucks fans too, because like I'm not going to tell people how to root for a team, but when you're screaming about how much you hate the team and hate the organization and guess what? I don't think you're a fan. I think you just hate the team. Like, holy shit. Like, being a fan is like having some optimism for something and getting frustrated. But, you go on Twitter and they're like, oh, the Bucks fucking suck. Your Bucks #1 fan is your Twitter handle. I just want to, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Just remember.
So, I mean, I don't understand that. But, I think let's get into some real things. So, Giannis has come out and talked several times. We've talked about this for the entirety of the podcast. He's never saying what we really want him to be saying, but he's been pretty consistent saying, like, I want to be in Milwaukee. They're going to have to trade me, or we're going to have to get to that point, but I'm not looking to leave. But then he'll always add, but I want to win. When that doesn't become a possibility, then I might need to look. Okay, fair enough. I understand that. I don't know what that means, though. Like, what does not being competitive mean? Because I feel like the Bucks are trying everything they possibly can to bring pieces in and try to compete. So I don't know what not competing looks like. And on top of that, if Giannis really truly cares about winning and competing, I know it's almost impossible with the way that like agents are and the players association, stuff like that. Take less money, dude. Take less money so they have money to sign somebody. If you are going to go for broke and you're going to take every dime that you deserve, which you deserve, I'm not going to blame you for taking it. Trust me. But you're going to limit the team on what they can do. By the time you're signing a supermax, I think Shea's, when his contract kicks in, at one point he's making over $70 million. I don't know if that's like early or late or something like that. So let's just say Giannis is making $70 million a year. Okay, I'd pay it because I still believe he's the better chance that we're going to have. But $70 million is really limiting what you can do. So I'll throw it back to you. What do you think he means when he says winning is not an option, what that looks like? And do you think there's any chance that he would actually take any less money if he could?
Yeah, that is an interesting question because you're always optimistic. You're always hoping. You're always entering the season competing to win, I would assume. And I guess maybe that's the answer. If he's entering a season and he feels like we can't win, I guess maybe that's when it would be. But maybe I'll couple that with saying the Bucks as an organization have done a good job. There are other organizations we can point to that have done a horrible job, that have made terrible trades. The Kings traded De'Aaron Fox and got, I think, Levine. Basically, I don't think they got any picks. It's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, the Kings are definitely, high up on the list there of terrible organizations. The Wizards for a long time have been terrible. I think they've kind of started to turn things around a little bit. Same thing with the Hornets. But, some of these teams like the Bulls, they're just in mediocrity forever, continually making these stupid moves that just are like lateral, like just getting some veteran. Like, why'd they sign Vucevic when they did? Like, it just, they just are doing things that don't make sense. That when they happen, immediately, all NBA fans are saying, like, this is not good. This is dumb. Like, this isn't going to help you. You're not going to be a better team because of this. Meanwhile, what have the Bucks done? They made a trade for, they kept upgrading. Eric Bledsoe, Drew Holiday, won the championship, upgraded to Damian Lillard. Everyone agrees he's a great player. Okay. So he wasn't too old at the time we got him. The injury thing wasn't, he obviously didn't tear his Achilles at that point. So those are all moves that make a lot of sense and give you optimism that you think, hey, this is a move. Everyone thought the Bucks were going to be awesome. Actually, that was universal. Okay. So, and then they are making trades on the margins. They picked up PJ Tucker in the year we won the championship. It was a pretty big, important move. Great. And then some of the moves they make that you might not be happy about, some of the times at least, it's financial. The Chris Middleton thing was more financial than anything, and it's understandable. And Bucks are not the only team who've had to make moves like that, where it's just like we have to get under the second apron, or it's going to kill us, And so it's obviously that trade was not great. If you're looking at basketball, you got rid of Middleton and you got Kuzma. Sure, Middleton's older and not who he was, but replacing him with Kuzma's not good. Like that hasn't helped us. That hasn't been great.
Yeah.
We could try to talk ourselves into it, but obviously it hasn't been good. But yeah, anyway, some of the things they've had to do, it's like you just get to a point that you're forced to make some of those decisions, and they're doing the best they can with all that stuff. Then they make these small moves on the margins. We got KPJ by trading Marjan Beauchamp, who's I don't think in the NBA anymore. Maybe he's in the G League somewhere.
No, I don't think so, yeah.
We picked up Cam Thomas out of nowhere, like nothing, instead of trading for him, which the Nets were really trying to do. So the Bucks were smart enough to not give anything up. We got some guy at the end of OKC's bench who's 22, who's like, hey, he could become something. Let's like just like you and I wanted. Let's take a flyer on some young guy at the end of the bench somewhere where he's not getting playing time. That's exactly what they did. They gave up our two worst players essentially for that guy. It's just like they're making a lot of good moves, is what I'm saying. Like you can't do anything you want to. You have to work with the assets you have, the budget that's there. Other teams have to agree to trades. So I think Horst has done a great job overall in his tenure. Some really bad draft picks. We can complain about different things here and there, but I think he's one of the better GMs. And one of the Bucks have had a great culture. I think they're one of the better organizations. So it's hard. So to answer your question, I feel like, yeah, why would Giannis be thinking we're not going to be competitive?
Right.
Unless something changes. You got the whole Haslam thing, and is maybe the culture is changing for the negative, and maybe he doesn't let Horst do what he wants to do, and whatever. Maybe he's like, Doc's the coach, you cannot fire him, and that's a problem. Like, who knows? There could be issues down the road, and maybe they're happening, and we're not quite sure what's going on. But in general, history to this point, the Bucks have proven they're a competitive organization that wants to win, that does what they can. They are, like, I don't know what more you really could ask of an organization. Not to say they're perfect, but I think that they have displayed, we're going to do whatever we can here to win.
I think you make a great point. What do people want? You look at the Bulls. People our age are always like, oh, it's the Chicago Bulls. Well, those were the Jordan years, and they were fantastic. It's been 30 years since they have kind of even been a relevant franchise. In that same 30 years, the Milwaukee Bucks have won a championship. They've had an MVP. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple times. They've had playoff. Like, what do you want? Like, it's almost to the point that, like, did Michael Jordan ruin basketball and Tom Brady ruin football, in the sense that if you don't have 5, 6, 7, 8 championships, like, who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. Winning one. Charles Barkley to this day still is like, never got a ring. He's still considered one of the best players, and they make fun of him all the time. They don't make fun of, like, the fact that, Shaq has more rings than Kenny. They both have a ring. That's it. End of statement. So, like, I don't know what Bucks fans or anybody that's following the Bucks truly want. You're making moves. You're trying to stay competitive. Look, I would argue that the Herb Cole years, apparently that philosophy came out, I don't know, after he sold the team, after he died, where it's like 8th seed or bust. I just want to make the playoffs so I can sell tickets. All right. If I'm Giannis and I'm hearing that and I'm seeing that, it's like, all right, you don't care about basketball. You're just looking to sell some tickets and make money. Mm-hmm. I'm out of here. That I can completely understand. I don't think Horst has done a single thing that makes me think that we're even close to that. I mean, he is making every possible move he can make. And if you have a Giannis, you are making the types of moves to, mortgage your future to try to win now, because we don't know what the future holds for Giannis. On the flip side, if you are a team that's looking at Giannis, all right, he's older, he potentially is injury prone, he isn't a great shooter, he plays a certain type of basketball. I feel like his best spot is with the Bucks, and the Bucks' best chance of winning is with Giannis. So this whole idea of this divorce is imminent. I just won't buy it, and I don't know what people want to get out of this franchise that they haven't gotten already. I'm floored.
Yeah, and I don't think a trade's going to happen unless Giannis forces the issue. It really seems to this point the Bucks have not entertained that, and they don't want to. And just like you said, Giannis on the Bucks is better for the Bucks for winning standpoint, the best chance to win, I think, for sure. But secondly, also, if you're not looking at winning, but you're an owner of this team, like, you probably want Giannis on the team. Like, aren't you making more money? I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I feel like especially if you're thinking about selling your stake in the team, like, what is the value of the Milwaukee Bucks when Giannis, right now, and then, like, Giannis leaves, like, what's the value the next day? I feel like the value of the team drops significantly.
Sure. Yeah.
Without a Giannis. But we're talking competitive basketball reasons. I I think the Bucks are just going to keep like, hey, we can do this. We can do this. We're going to waive Damian Lillard and sign Miles Turner. Like, I mean, they'll do crazy stuff and try and figure it out. So I think he might get traded this summer, but if he does, I think it's because he asks out. I mean, basically that's when it's going to happen. If it happens, is he asks out, or later in his career, I could see maybe like a more beneficial situation. But right now, it's hard for me to understand how it's better for the Bucks competitively over the next 5 years to not have Giannis. I just don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it, and I don't know. Like, okay, let's say you're right, and Giannis is traded. I agree that it would be because he is asking to leave, but I don't know a single situation that makes the most sense. You look at the Rockets. I'm not following the Rockets very well, but from what I've been hearing is they get Durant. They have this amazing team. They're not great. I mean, they're not leading the West right now. I mean, they still might be, a playoff team, and they should be, but it's like, Durant was added with a group of young guys, a bunch of tall, athletic guys, like everything. You have the coach from the Celtics. I can't think of his name.
Udoka?
Udoka, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
All these things should be working, and it's just not perfect for them. It's
they are the fourth seed. They're 34-21.
Okay.
But the way that the GOAT talks about them, they talk about them like there's no chance.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like, if I'm Giannis, it's like, okay, let's say you go to Charlotte. Okay, I want to go to Charlotte. It's a young, up-and-coming team. You don't think the Bucks want Con Knippel back in that deal?
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we're starting.
They don't get the same team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same team. The guy you want to play with is the guy we need to get back in return. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you want. So it goes back to like those Knicks trades. We would never give up Jalen Brunson. Okay. So the guy that's never won an MVP, never won a championship, is not even in like a discussion for a multi-time MVP champion, not even in the discussion. But you can have Cat, who nobody wants. You can have, so-and-so who is our sixth man. What are you doing? What are these made-up trades? I don't know. I still just don't buy
What's funny about those trades is OG Anunoby is like always mention those trades.
Yes.
He's like exactly what you want with Giannis.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He's the guy that every team wants, actually. But especially alongside the best 3-and-D guy possible.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like you really want to get rid of that guy?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a situation that makes sense for him. I think the Bucks have done everything possible to make it work. You just got to figure it out, and we think it might be coaching, but maybe it's not. There's something else going on, but I think there's a possibility there. I think the narrative's never going to die until Giannis signs his extension or comes out and continues to say what he's doing, and it gets to the point where he's just like, I'm not talking about it anymore. Like, I kind of want him to just say, I'm not talking about it anymore.
Yes.
That's going to end the whole thing. But to have a soundbite every time does lead into the narrative that the GOAT's always having, where it's like, Giannis is in a weird mental spot and he keeps saying weird shit. And it's like, okay, yeah, he is in the sense that he's not saying what anybody wants him to say. But I don't know. I still just don't buy that it's happening. I think he's trying to get healthy. He sees a lot of promise with this team. We can get in the playoffs and weird shit can happen. I'm not counting this out. I just don't think it's the end of days. And I think Giannis is going to be back.
Yes, well, we hopefully are done talking about it until after the season. He cannot be traded right now. The season's going on. He's going to come back and play pretty soon, I think. So hopefully there's not too much more talk about it. In the summer, it'll be insufferable.
Yes,
and we'll just have to live through it. And then hopefully the Bucks are good next year, and then we don't hear about it all season like we did this year. But yeah, if they're not good and he's on the team, we're going to hear about it just endlessly.
Yeah.
If we've learned anything, that's what I've learned. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about Jang and Thomas in terms of what we've seen. So, 5 games, it's been great. They've each played about 20 minutes a game. Jang has about 10 points, 4.4 rebounds. So 4.4 rebounds in 20 minutes. So if he played 40 minutes, that's almost 9 rebounds. It's like pretty good, especially from the three.
Yeah.
Okay, 1.4 assists, 1.4 stocks, blocks and steals added together. And he's shooting 47% from three, and he has that awesome no dip three where he catches it high. And actually, PC had that as well.
Yeah.
But that's great. Love that quick release. Doesn't need to bring it down and have someone strip it. So, yeah, he's been playing three, I think, mostly. Thomas, pretty much like a 6-man kind of guy. Also 20 minutes a game, 18.4 points. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So only 2.4 rebounds, also 1.4 assists, 0 blocks, 0 steals, and only 33% from three. He's more of a drive and kind of mid-range type guy. So really good numbers for both of those guys. What do you think, from the eye test kind of added onto that? What's your takeaway so far for both
I mean,
of those?
eye test is, been great. You really are seeing these guys bringing a lot of energy. KPJ on his best nights brings a ton of energy. But you get a little worried because he starts shooting too much. He starts to get a little crazy with some things. But I think, Thomas has really kind of been a great presence on the team, seems to have a lot of energy. I see him fighting for offensive rebounds quite a bit. And I don't know that the makeup for this team is definitely have Giannis with all 3-point shooters. Right? 3-point shooting is obviously a huge part of the game, but you have to be able to mix up some other things. I mean, I don't want just 4 guys sitting, beyond the arc and let Giannis drive, and if he's either going for it or shooting out. I mean, that's just gonna get old. It's gonna get stopped easy. You need these mid-range guys, and I think it's been fantastic. I think they look like a fantastic fit on the team. They're earning the playing time. Like, to your point, Cam Thomas is taking over Bobby Portis as the 6-man. Bobby is still Bobby. You love his scoring. You love his energy. He always gets Ashley worked up because Bobby Portis is trying to be Draymond Green sometimes. I feel like it's like sometimes, shut up, dude. Like, you gotta calm down. I love that you have the fire. I love that you have this energy. But holy shit, like, you're supposed to be a veteran at this point.
Yeah,
for a
the
championship.
texts
Gotta
he's
control
gotten
it.
this year have been kind of frustrated. I've just been like, why is that happening?
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden there's a technical foul and like there's nothing leading up to it, and then it's like Bobby got one, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
you're
just
right. This year it's like a little
John
different. Yeah.
John at the ref or John at somebody, and it's just like you can't let it go. So it's like that's going back to like that, team chemistry. Who's the guy that's being like in his face and saying, shut the fuck up? Like, it should be Giannis, but when Giannis isn't playing, someone else has to do it. And you can't be an organization where you're trying to be this young, up and coming guy and you're afraid to talk to someone like Bobby Portis. Because if that's the case, Bobby's got to go. Because you can't have an organization where you can't talk to the other guys on your team. That's just never going to work. So someone's got to step up. And I think that was one of the things that you brought up PJ Tucker before. He knew his role. He knew how to bring energy. He, did everything we needed. I'm going to play excellent defense, barely shoot when I need to, but I'm going to bring the energy. I'm going to get in everyone's face. I'm going to make sure that we're playing the full time. That is something that I think is missing. Jang looks great. He's got like that, like you said, that shot where, he's just ready to fire right away. I think this is the type of guy that, really I could see him improving quite a bit. The more playing time he gets, I think we're going to see just better and better every single game. I don't know who he's going to be playing over all the time. But I think that's what Doc is still trying to figure out. He's still having KPJ and Rollins and Green out there at the same times. He'll have, Sims and Turner and Bobby sometimes. Like, I feel like he just doesn't know what he's doing right now. But I'm hoping that we can settle down. I think the guys definitely look like they belong, and I feel like there's every reason to have a lot of excitement for the rest of the season. I mean, we don't have that much time, but all you have to do is get hot like we've been, pull it together, and there's always a chance.
Yeah, I think Zhang could be really good, and I love the fit for the team. Like, we need a small forward, and we need rebounding. So he's like a tall guy who can play small forward. Like, he has the handle and the ability to do that.
Do you know
So
how tall he is? Because he looks like 6'8", but
it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. He looks tall. Um, but anyway, that's like the answer to me. Like that's the answer, and you gotta play him and just see what you have. Like I want him to play more. He's playing 20 minutes a game. Thankfully, he's playing. Although the last game he played 8 minutes until the end of the game, that which basically it was over. So then he played like 6 more minutes. But it's like you only played him 8 minutes, the first 3.5 quarters. Like, what are you doing? Why is that happening? You got to play this guy, and he's been awesome too. But similarly with Pete Nance, why is Pete Nance not playing more? Like he's shown really good
yeah, I don't
stuff. Like
understand that.
let's like sit Kyle Kuzma. We don't need to see him. I don't even think he's terrible. He's not a part of the Bucks winning a championship. Like
No, yeah,
we're gonna move on from him. He's gonna be done. Like I just don't get why. Just don't play him that much. Play him a little bit, whatever. Just like these other guys need playing time to get better. They're young. They haven't played many minutes. Jang barely played on Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
He's like, it's his 4th year, and he was a first-round pick, but hasn't really played much. Pete Nance, obviously a two-way guy, so he's barely played anything. He's kind of like Ryan Rollins from last year, somewhat. It's just like get these guys minutes. Let's see who they can become, and they're giving us some of this. Like we need rebounding. Our rebounding was just horrible, especially offensive rebounding. And Pete Nance and Ousmane Dieng are like doing that. That's something they do. And then they're also making plays, they're pretty good 3-point shooters. They're doing things that other players aren't doing. They're hustling. Pete Nance is like, drawing charges and like playing fundamental basketball. So those are the guys that I just want them to be playing. But yeah, Jang has really shown a lot. I guess I maybe am most impressed with just like his handle and like how he moves. I guess he moved like I'm saying, like he looks like he can play the three, like really well. So that's what I want to see. Cam Thomas has been great. I mean, you can't complain too much about Cam Thomas. I'm still pretty skeptical on him long term, and just like, is he a winner? Is he part of a winning team?
yeah.
I'm not sure. So, and he's a free agent next year. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with him. Like, is this just like, hey, let's just see what we got here? Like, how much are we going to pay him next year too? Like, let's say he's awesome. I'm assuming we're just going to offer him the vet min if we want to keep him. But anyway, he has been amazing. I mean, 18, 19 points in 20 minutes a game. That's pretty good. You can't, it's like, I'll take that. Which is it's kind of interesting. His plus minus is negative something. Where was that? Negative 3.6. Even though he's scoring like almost a point per minute, he still has a negative on off. So there is something about that. Definitely the defense is, leaves you wanting. Like I said, he has 0 blocks and steals, like not one. So I think it's a little mixed bag on Cam Thomas. The eye test too, like just the defense, I think is a big question mark. And like what we've talked about, we want a defensive identity. We want like playing like dogs, right? So I'm not sure he fits that, but if he's going to score a point a minute, I guess I'll take him on the team.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He doesn't fit the identity like Kuzma doesn't fit the identity either. They're not bad players. Clearly, they are in the NBA. They make money, but they're just not what the Bucks need. I mean, Kuzma, we've seen go out and have 30-plus points in a game. He's a scorer. Defense, not great. Cam Thomas, scorer. That's awesome. We needed some scoring. Defense, not that great. So those are the guys that I'm not going to be paying a lot of money to. The Bucks somehow find a way to get guys to come back for like nothing. I don't know how they do it. So there's always a possibility there, but yeah, none of these guys should be making over 20 million. That's for sure. Definitely going to be low ball there, and free agency, add some pieces. But we've talked about this before. I don't know why Doc does what he does. It seems so simple. Play the young guys, see how this is going to work. You don't owe Kuzma anything. Have him ride the bench. You're clearly letting Gary Trent ride the bench. So why is Kuzma any different? Because he's tall. I get it. All right. But yeah, Nance has been looking great as far as like a hustle guy. He does seem a little lost out there sometimes. Number one, I may have mentioned this before. It seems like he's wearing short shorts from the 50s. I can't get over it. I don't understand
Gary Trent
what's
Jr.
happening there. What?
What player?
Pete Nance.
Pete Nance. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every time I see him, it just looks like he's got like the shortest shorts of all time. So it's super distracting. Not that I'm looking at his legs, but it's just like it's hard not to see. So he sometimes gets a little like, crazy out there where it doesn't seem like he knows what he's supposed to be doing. But then when he kind of gets his head on, he looks great. Looks like he's got a lot of optimism there. I just want to see better mixes of some of these guys because, like, Jericho Sims, I feel like he starts to have a good game and then he'll have kind of a bad game. And it's like, are you supposed to be the defensive guy that we need, or are you going to be the guy that we're lobbing dunks to? I don't know what your identity is right now. I don't think he does either. And that's a Doc problem again. But yeah, I mean, the young guys, we have some possibilities that can play with Giannis. Let's just see what it is. You're gonna have to make decisions on all these guys anyway. But Jang, I want to see playing a heck of a lot more than he is. I want Green taking shots. I want to see the Rollins, KPJ playing at the same time. I think I like that. Both guys that are capable scorers, capable defenders, true point guards. Having two of those guys out there at the same time makes it difficult for teams, especially when you look at a team like, talk about it again, Houston. They're all super tall guys. You have guys that, are quicker. They're going to, take these guys out of their game, and that's super helpful. We have size that we can have with Giannis and Turner and Sims. Play some of these younger guys and get in people's heads. Going back again, Ajax. Play some Ajax minutes. I still don't understand what's happening in that. You have add it to the young group of guys. If you're looking for a defensive identity, that's all he is. But Doc is sitting there complaining about defense because the offense isn't good, which that doesn't even make any sense to me. So
Yeah, you mentioned Rollins, KPJ. The best, the lineup that's played the most is Turner, Giannis, Green, KPJ, Rollins, and that is a plus 13.6. So that starting lineup that seems to be the preferred one when everyone's healthy is good. Like that has been a good lineup. And then if you have Jang as a backup three in that lineup and not Kyle Kuzma, and actually when they did that for a while, they had Kuzma backing up Giannis at the 4, which was better than him playing the 3. So you have some minutes there, and then you have Jang at the 3. You have Pete Nance you can throw in. You have Cam Thomas as a scorer. You still have Bobby. You got Sims for the defense, backup center. It's like, you have a team. It seems like you have a team, especially if we're saying that the starting lineup is plus 13.6, like they're pretty good starting lineup and hopefully getting better. Rollins, again, this is his first real year of playing basketball. So, yeah, I think you have something there. One thing I looked at was the small forward position and who's played this season and how have they done. And surprisingly, and maybe it's just depending on like who you call the small forward, but Cleaning the Glass, at least, called Gary Trent Jr. the small forward in the most. So he played the most small forward of anyone, according to Cleaning the Glass.
really,
Yeah. So if you have like a Gary Trent Jr., Ryan Rollins, AJ Green, let's just say, they were calling Gary Trent Jr. the small forward for some reason, and not AJ Green. So it's kind of like, well, who knows? But according to Cleaning the Glass, it's Gary Trent Jr. So he's negative 12.9 in 1,600 possessions. Okay, then you had Kyle Kuzma, who's probably the guy we would have guessed played the most at 3. He's played 1,255 possessions, negative 4.4. Not as bad as I would have guessed, actually. Mm-hmm. Okay, then you got AJ Green, plus 7.2 in 879 possessions, and then he's even better at the 2 because overall AJ Green's like plus 10 or plus 11, I think. So of the 3 most played guys, AJ Green is like clearly the best one so far, at least in terms of these numbers. So then you have a few other guys, Gary Harris, Taurean Prince, Amir Coffey was horrible. Okay, then you got Pete Nance, plus 10.9 in 209 possessions, and Ousmane Dieng, plus 18.5 in 167 possessions. So even though it's not that many, it's still as many as Amir Coffey, and it's not that far behind a Gary Harris or a Taurean Prince. And they have better numbers so far. It's like, and Gary Trent Jr. obviously, who thankfully is not playing anymore, really, but Kyle Kuzma, hasn't been good all year. His overall on off is not good. He's just, hasn't been great. Like, let's give these other guys a chance who so far have been good. So it's not even like, oh, it seems like they should be better. Let's just give them a chance. It's like, hey, they've been actually really good so far. Let's keep doing it.
It's funny because some of these guys you mentioned, you almost kind of forget they're on the team. Like, kind of almost forgot Torian Prince is on the team because he's been hurt.
Yeah.
Like, if he comes back this year, I don't know where he goes. Is Gary Harris still on the team? I think so.
Gary Harris, he hasn't really. I guess he hasn't been playing much, has he?
Yeah, he hasn't been playing.
past
Gary
few
Trent
games.
hasn't been playing. A lot of these guys that were getting early minutes, so maybe that is a testament to Doc figuring something out to realize I can't play these guys anymore.
I think
they're
it's
just
been
not doing,
rebounding.
but
I think
What?
they made a concerted effort to get more rebounds.
yeah,
And so I think that's why. I'm going to guess that's why Gary Harris is not playing as much because he's just short.
right.
And they're playing Sims. They suddenly played Sims more after he had like a horrible game. Like, I don't know, 10, 15 game. He had like just 2 really terrible passes, and everyone was like, oh my, he's like the leader of the tank, I think is what they're saying. So anyhow, he's been pretty awesome since then and played more, suddenly. So that's my guess as to what's happened recently. Is they're just like pretty focused on rebounding, and it seems to have helped. And the offensive rebound, I mean, every game, it's just like the other team shoots, 10 more shots than us or 15 more shots than us. Or it's like we're losing that. It's the offensive rebounding and the turnovers. Like, you just have to have that had to change. And I think that's what I think they're really focused on the past like 5-10 games.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's less of these stupid turnovers. Those are the ones that bother me more than anything. These, crappy passes, the ones that are across the court, or they're getting too silly with it. It's like, I can't tolerate that. You got to be so much better than that. But, the rebounding, especially the offensive rebounding, it's something that you definitely can see, at least an effort. We talked about this before. You can't be the team that doesn't rebound and also doesn't play transition D. Like, you can't be both because that just doesn't make sense. So pick one. I don't care what it is, just pick one. But like, you mentioned the tank too. I know a lot of people are wishing that the Bucks would tank. I am never going to be one of them. Teams that tank are unwatchable, and I like watching basketball too much, so I just never want that to happen. Plus, the other thing is, like, how often has like tanking been the right call? I think rarely. Like,
That's a
the
good
teams
question.
that are the worst are never getting the top pick.
That's one thing. You're not guaranteed
Yeah.
that pick, and sometimes it hasn't worked out. And also you're just not guaranteed a good player. You could pick a guy at number 4, and he might be a total bust. Like, we could go down the line, and I'm probably like forget about half of these guys. So Gulliver went through on the most recent GOAT. He went through like how many I forget, maybe top 5 picks have won or competed in a championship, in the past 20, 30 years. Like, whatever the parameters were, the moral of the story was that it's not many. And so if you are tanking to get like a top 5 pick, let's say that's kind of what they looked at, you're certainly not guaranteed to be competing for championships. Sometimes it works out. You get a Wemby. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll take that. You get LeBron James. Sometimes it obviously works out, but for the most part, it's not saving your team. Maybe it's help. Maybe they're a good role player. I mean, he didn't go through every guy. Like, I'm sure some of the players that didn't get to a finals are still really good players, but you have to do more. Like, and that was kind of his point. It's like you have to make smart trades. You have to make moves on the margins. Drafting a top 5 guy probably helps, but it might not too. And it's just like there's no guarantees here. And like you were saying, you're not even guaranteed. Like, if you're the 4th worst team, you still might pick 8th. Like, it's just
Right.
the way it goes now. You're not sure. So
Yeah, and I mean, there's something to be said about just being a smart GM. Chris Middleton coming from Detroit, like, I don't know how many people expected him to be who he is. Sometimes you just have to take a chance on this. Jang coming from OKC, I mean, he was a lottery pick for a reason. They saw something in him that they wanted to play him, but they made a lot of other moves and they didn't need to play him and he didn't fit. And it doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player, but you have a smart GM that comes in and been like, yeah, I'll take him and then I'll play him and see what happens. Like, I would rather continue to see the Bucks doing that, make creative trades for guys that maybe haven't clicked right away and hope that maybe a new environment helps, than perennially, like every single year we're getting a top 8 pick and we still suck. How is that going to be as a fan to be like, yeah, another top 10 pick, another guy that can't get us over the hump, and then you get all the trades, and this isn't my own original, I've heard this before, but it's like, let's trade Giannis to get picks because one of those picks could turn into a Giannis.
That's the best.
What? You already have a Giannis. Why are you trading him hoping to get a Giannis? Like, that's what the other team should be hoping. Keep the picks and hope you get one because we already have it. We're good.
And Giannis was what, 15, 13?
I
He was
think
in the
he was,
teens.
I would bet money he was 15.
And Jokic was like 48 or something.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not necessarily a top 5, top 10 guy. Yeah.
Hey, going back to Detroit, they took why can't I think of his name? Who's the foreign guy they took over Bosch and
Darko?
Maine and Darko.
Darko.
Yeah, Darko Milicic or whatever.
Yeah.
Look at the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons like had the opportunity to draft any of those guys and still didn't.
Yeah.
So even if you get lucky and you're the Milwaukee Bucks and you get a top 2 pick, who's to say you're going to make the right call? Jabari Parker and Giannis was supposed to be, all right, sign us up for, being in the finals for the next 10 years.
Yeah. That's
Everybody
okay.
thought that. That was like the
Bucks-
no-brainer. This is going to be like, holy shit, how is this working?
Yeah. They totally failed on that pick and they won a championship. What, 5 years later? Well, however many years later.
Yeah.
The Pistons, they just picked Jaden Ivey a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. Top 5, pretty sure top 5 pick. And they just traded him. Like, he's not part of the best, you know what I mean? He's not a part of their championship run that they're going to try to make here. They have the best record, and they got rid of him.
Golden
So it's
State,
like,
when Steph
yeah.
Curry got hurt, they went and got the number 2 pick, James Wiseman. He's not even playing for them.
and then,
anymore. I don't
then
even
they
know if he's
picked
playing.
Kaminga.
Yeah, Kaminga.
They got Wiseman, Kaminga, and Moody. They got 3 top 10 picks, one
Yeah.
of which is on the team and doesn't start. Like, he plays, I think he's kind of, sometimes he plays more than other times. I don't know. The Warriors are weird. There'll be like a guy playing a lot. He's like Trace Davis Jackson. It's like, oh,
Yes.
it looks pretty good. And then he's like sitting at the end of the bench. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. We've talked about this before. I cannot figure out how people look at a college player and know if they're going to be in the NBA. I just don't understand it because the guy you just said, I can't pronounce these names anymore.
Trace Davis Jackson? Is that his
Yeah,
name?
yeah, that guy. He was played at Indiana. Was great in college.
Yeah.
Was always a force. Doesn't play. Goes to the NBA. Finally, he starts starting for Golden State. Looks really good. So it's like, okay, yeah, you found out that like maybe his skill set from college is going to work in the NBA, and then you never hear from him again. He's gone.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing. Frank Kaminsky comes in, one of the greatest college basketball players you've ever seen. Gets drafted high. I don't remember exactly, but he was a lottery pick.
Top 10.
Just bounced around, never really fit anywhere, never did shit. Like, kind of just fell off. Sam Decker, not drafted nearly as high, doesn't make an impact in the NBA. Outside of, I think he has a terrible highlight where I think the ball gets thrown off his face. Look it up. I think that's true. Plays overseas in MVP, like, and win a championship. Like, I don't know what anybody's looking at. And that's the thing that, like, if you're going to be a GM, take those shots. Realize that GMs and coaches sometimes don't know what they're doing. They bury guys at the end of the bench that they shouldn't be. I mean, the Kings, you mentioned that before. Zach LaVine, that guy sucks. DeMar Rosen, he sucks. Like, and they keep collecting them all. Like, what are you planning on doing with that group
They
of
collect them.
guys? Like, I don't understand it.
That is what they're doing, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm bringing more trash. And by the way, do the Kings win any championships? No. The Kings have any MVP candidates? No. But somehow the Kings are a better organization than the Bucks. Just remember that, because they got Zach LaVine, who the Bulls, again, who have sucked for 3 decades, didn't want. And that you're so happy you got him. So I don't know. I just don't buy into these picks turning into something. Like I'd rather be a sniper on taking guys off benches and build that way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tanking, this is a hot topic right now, I guess. Do you think there's a problem with how it's set up right now with the NBA? We talked about how if you have the worst record, you're not guaranteed the best pick. So they did make that rule change, I don't know, 15 years ago, whenever they made the rule change. And there's still a lot of teams that do purposely lose, essentially, or purposely try and lose. We just saw Utah, sit like the two best players in the fourth quarter, so it wasn't even like a fake injury kind of thing. It was like they played for 3 quarters and played well, and they just like sat. I'm like, we want to lose this game. So like there is tanking still going on pretty egregiously. Is it fine, that a few teams do that each season, or do you think the NBA does need to address that and kind of change something here?
Yeah, in a way, I like the lottery because you don't want a team to tank and just get the number 1 pick, and then it's just going to be crappy basketball. It's not fun to watch. I mean, you even look at like the NFL, the teams that get the number 1 pick, they're still competitive. They're still, close games. They're playing to the end. Like basketball's not the same thing. I know that there's some ideas floating around. I think Charles Barkley had the idea of get rid of the protections. So that like if you want to trade your pick, like it is that pick. It's not protected if you get the top 5. No, like take the chance. Do you really want this guy because you're trading a pick that who knows what it's going to be? Like I'm behind that. I like that a lot. Like there's too much like I don't know, little loopholes on all these trades that just gets annoying, and I can understand why people are just like I can't even follow it anymore. It's just
Well,
stupid, but
the Indiana trade, who'd they just trade? Clippers, right? The Clippers. They traded with the Clippers, and they traded their pick, but it's protected 1 through 5, and maybe like 11 and up, something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's just like 6 through 10, then the Clippers get it. Otherwise the Pacers keep it, and it's like we're getting too into the weeds here with some of these protections.
yeah.
Yeah, and so they're like super incentivized to lose because they want the top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So the protection thing is actually that's a good, whether you just say no protections at all, or you kind of have certain rules that I would have to think about it, but certain rules that make sense to not, kind of cause teams to tank.
Maybe you could do something where you can like save 1 or protect 1 pick every 5 years. So like, do you want to protect the one upcoming next year, assuming that you think we're going to be competitive, and that might be the year that your star goes out and you suck and well, you wasted it.
Or
Now you gotta
maybe
wait
not
until-
like current year.
Yeah.
Because the Pacers just did that, mid-season when they had a bad start, like their best players hurt all season. Maybe they wanted to lose since day one. I guess I don't know, but the point is, mid-season, season looks terrible. Like let's lose, so let's protect this pick. Like if it's 3 years from now, maybe you're really good, and then there's like no chance you're tanking.
Right. But I think like I'm okay with the worst team getting the top pick. I'd be okay with it, but you got to put something in place because you can't have this being like down to the wire the last couple weeks, like just shit basketball. People like putting out like the equipment manager as center just because they want to make sure that they lose or something like that. You got to stop that. I don't know how to do that. I'm not smart enough to figure that out, but I'm okay having like the worst team, because they're going to find ways to get better over time, and you're going to have a nice mix of teams growing up. But like Dallas getting Cooper Flag, that's just bullshit. Like, come on. Everybody knows that that's bullshit. You trade Luka, you get Cooper Flag. Like, all right, so you just keep staying the course and being where you are while other teams just continue to suck forever. Like I don't love that, but I also don't want teams that are giving up before All-Star weekend and being like, all right, let's just try to get the number 1 pick. Like, so I don't know if it's a penalty or like, hey, if you secure a top 5 pick, you have a penalty of $10 million or whatever it needs to be. Like, yeah, you get the draft high, but you're also getting penalized for sucking. I'd be interested to see what people would do.
Yeah. The idea I saw, I think maybe he had many ideas, but I can't think of the commissioner's name. What's his name?
Adam Silver.
Adam Silver.
We're getting
He
old,
had-
people. We can't remember
He
things.
threw out the idea of like having a tournament of sorts for like the teams that are, the bad teams, the teams that are in the lottery, basically.
Okay.
And so I don't like that at all. So now
So if you-
so now like the non-lottery teams, let's say the teams that don't make the playoffs, are now playing to try and get like the best pick. I just don't understand that. Like, so the players on that team care so much, well, like some of them are like probably not on the team next year. I mean, it really depends, like case by case situation, but like they're for sure not all coming back. Some of them might, the best player for all we know is like thinking he wants to be traded or has a contract year, whatever it is. It's just like, do we want the players to be trying for that? It's just, there's too much change, I think, for that to happen. Plus, now you're kind of hurting the teams that actually suck. Some teams are just bad. Not every team that has a bad record is tanking necessarily. Like there are teams that are just really bad and they kind of need like a good pick to like help them out here. And now we're going to kind of take that away because they're probably the worst team in this tournament. And so now they're going to get like the 15th pick like that. So I kind of hated that idea that
don't like
apparently Adam Silver threw out as like something they were thinking about, or maybe he didn't say it, but it was like a topic that was going to be discussed. Whatever it was like a legitimate idea thrown out there that I think is terrible. And yeah, there's lots of ideas going around. I'm not sure it's that serious of a problem, I guess, too. Like, so a part of me is like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think like not playing players is important, and the NBA needs to be like, you can't just sit your good players. But in general, if a team is, somewhat legitimately trying to lose, just playing young guys over veterans and things like that, I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't think it's like ruining the sport. There's like a lot of other issues. Like the number one issue is just like play less games. Don't, like 82 games is just too many. But I think there's other things we could try and do to like help the NBA than to worry so much about like the bottom 5 teams like sitting, just like purposely losing essentially at the end of the season. Like they suck anyways. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Adam Silver might not be great at his job. I mean,
Oh, he needs to be gone, I think. Yeah.
yeah, there's some things that he's done that, like, I feel like basketball is a sport. I appreciate the fact that they try new things. The NBA is different than other sports where it's like, yeah, have a funky court, have funky jerseys. People like that. That's going to be fun to do. But like some of the other stuff is just dumb. Like that tournament is a stupid idea. He should be fired for even thinking of that idea and saying it out loud. We don't need to be talking about expanding overseas. So, I don't know, some of these things get out of hand, but I'm going to bring this up and transition. So there is a lot of talk about expansion coming up.
Oh yeah, like 2 teams.
Two
supposedly.
teams, and the talk seems to be Seattle and Las Vegas because that's just becoming a growing sports market because these teams
guess
are
so.
moving, and Seattle because people are just praying that they're going to rectify the Sonics leaving, which I don't know if that's happening. Like you might have just lost your team and just move on. Like come on, like I don't know. Shit, it might happen in Milwaukee one day, but like it doesn't mean it's got to come back. It just doesn't mean that way. But so if there is an expansion draft, I just looked this up. You can protect 8 players. So I'll give you a minute to pull up the Bucks roster,
Okay.
and we'll just see who you think would be your 8 players that you would save.
So you're saying that no matter the contract,
Correct.
You-
Because the Seattle and Vegas come in, they have an expansion draft. They can take anybody from these pools except the 8 guys that are being, whatever.
and they just
protected
take
by
on
each.
the contract?
Let's just assume they get to re-sign them any way they want.
Okay.
So
That's
contract
interesting.
doesn't matter. They just get to do whatever they want to do.
And this is happening, I guess, in an off season, but we'll just assume it's like
Yeah, let's
right
just say
now.
it's an off season,
Yeah.
but you got your current roster, and you can save 8 of these guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Giannis, AJ Green, Ryan Rollins, Miles Turner.
Gets tougher.
It does. It does get tougher. I mean, a lot of these guys are like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I kind of like them. I kind of don't. Yeah, that is really difficult, actually. So you're naming 8. I guess I would name Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, I'd probably name Jang.
Yeah.
Like, let's just protect them so they don't steal them. 2 more guys. Wow. We need a better roster, don't we? I mean, I'm protecting the young guys. I'm gonna protect Pete Nance. It's like I'd rather have Pete Nance than Bobby Portis or Kyle Kuzma. You know, Jericho Sims. Yeah, it's like take it or leave it. So of course I'm gonna have Ajax be my 8th guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it. I think it becomes hard to actually name 8 players, which to the point does show the holes in the Bucks roster. I think it's easier to say like, all right, Gary Harris, you can go. Cam Thomas, I'm fine if you want to stay, but I'm not holding it because I know you're going to be a free agent. Gary Trent, you can leave. Torian Prince, you can leave. Bobby Portis, thanks for your service, but see you later. Thanasis. I would love to see an expansion team take the number 1 pick.
Yeah, exactly.
That means they're getting Giannis. It would be the greatest moment of anybody's life, and I just wish that the GM of the Vegas whatever's number 1 pick on Thanasis just to be like, yeah, that's it. We got him, and so now we're gonna get Giannis, and
yeah, this is our play for Giannis.
this is our play for Giannis. It'd be amazing. I love it. But yeah, I don't think I would save anyone different that you did. But yeah, you got to save the young guys, and you got to, Kuzma, Portis. I think it's, time to move on.
Yeah, that's a fun thing to think through. I wonder. So then, so now you lose 3 guys. Let's just say, like you get. I guess you just have to fill those spots. So you lose those contracts, and whatever they were, you lost. If they take, let's say you don't protect Miles Turner, and they take him, so now you just cleared 25-30 million a year. I mean, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
In that sense, like there are going to be good players available.
Yeah.
For this expansion draft, because some teams are like, that guy, not like they think he's bad, but maybe we could be better if he was off the books.
Right.
And so that's actually pretty interesting. But then, how do they fill? I guess they're going to fill them with through the draft and like guys who are at the ends of benches. Like, are they going to replace them with a good player? I guess that might be more difficult. How many free agents are even available? Usually there's not that many good free agents. So I guess that would be the downside of giving up a player like, let's say, Miles Turner. Like, how are you going to replace him that summer? But yeah, that would be pretty interesting if that happens, just to kind of see how that plays out.
Yeah, because I mean, the Bucks maybe not to a point that you have like a really hard decision on who you're going to keep, but OKC, they're going to have a difficult time figuring out what they're going to do.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they're going to have more picks, but they're also like, who do we get rid of? Because players on teams like that are the ones that are going to go first. Do people? Shit, did the Celtics be like, well, we look actually kind of better with Brown instead of Brown and Tatum, so let's put Tatum in the mix, wipe out that contract, and kind of ride with what we got? Who's to say that that's not a possibility? Or, I don't know. It could be a really fun addition. And actually, maybe that would even be a thing that Silver should try. Instead of having these teams just trading these bad contracts back and forth, and, you have a guy at the end of the bench that is on his 5th team and he hasn't seen minutes, since the Reagan administration. Like, just stop doing this. Stop moving his contract around. And maybe what you do is you put them all into a lottery, and every one of the bad contract goes in there. And you can choose to pass on your pick or take somebody from the pool. It all resets, and you get to sign them to a new contract. If you take them, though, that team gets to wipe that off their contract, off their pool.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
That could be fun. Yeah. This is making me want to play, with 2K, whatever the game's called. I haven't played at all, but I hear about it, and it's like apparently a lot of it's just being the GM. not even like playing the game
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
can't-
actually at this point, like I'm more interested in that. Like maybe I need to pick up one of these games and check it out.
that's what I end up doing anytime I have a chance to pick up like Madden or 2K. It's just I'm not playing the game because I don't play that well anymore. But I like being the GM and like what can I do and what would I like that's the fun part. It's almost like I think they once had a game called NFL head coach that was just that part of it, but it's like nobody wants to be the coach. They want to be the GM. They want to be moving shit around.
Yeah.
Like I want to sometimes I simulate the season, just get me to the draft. Let me, do the scouting part and see what I'm going to do to. Am I going to trade up? Am I going to like I don't know. That's definitely the
So
way to go.
when you do that, if you've done this and you go into the future, and then there's like a draft, it's just like all made up players, I guess at that point.
Yeah, so I typically do it with like Madden more than I do like an NBA game. I have an NBA game thinking I'm going to do that, and I just always forget. I mean, I don't have time to play as much as I used to or want to. But like on the NFL, like Madden, you can either have the computer make up a bunch of names, or you can like download existing draft classes. So it'd be
Oh,
like,
you
let's say
can.
you want to draft the 1985 pool.
Oh, okay.
You could do that, or
Huh.
there's a lot of like nerdy guys. I say that in a loving way though, that will spend time building all of these college players
Yeah.
so that you can say I want to download the 2027 draft, and they have real guys from real teams that they've spent the time making.
So you could download it.
Yes, yeah.
Someone create. You're saying it's not official.
It's not official, but they open it up so that you can download these rosters and see what's out there and play around with it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, it's fun. I mean, you get to a point where you have a guy that's looking to, you have to negotiate your contracts, and then you start to get to a point where it's like, you're just not worth that much, so I'll trade you for a bunch of first round picks. And then when it's my turn to draft, maybe I'll trade that pick for other picks. And 5 years down the road, I have, 18 first round picks, and I'm in a good spot. But yeah, I mean, that's a fun way to do it sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should both do that, and then, I think either we'll realize that we're like the best GMs in the world, and like we should be the GM of the Bucks, or we'll realize like, oh, it's pretty difficult. It's harder than we thought.
It could be. I do think back to like a couple years ago, maybe it's been like 8 by now, but I don't know. Anyway, the Miami Dolphins once had 3 first round picks in a draft. And I talked to a buddy of mine, and we said, all right, if you have 3 first round picks in an NFL draft, you should always trade one of them for a future first round pick so that you always have 2 first round picks for like a decade. I don't understand how that couldn't work. There's going to be somebody that wants to trade. And if you just say, yeah, just give me your first round pick next year. Even if that's just the trade, now you have 2 next year. And who knows what these teams are going to do? It could be the first overall pick for all you know. Look at the stupidity of Carolina. They trade all their picks so that they can get Bryce Young. They suck, and they gave up their first round pick the following year.
Oh yeah.
To the Bears, who got Caleb Williams, who's arguably a better quarterback, and the Panthers could have just sat there and done nothing and been better off. But
Yeah.
hey, that's what they did. So anyway, this has turned into an NFL podcast, but
Yeah, that might be it for today. Yeah, we'll probably have more Bucks games, more Zhang and Thomas, and probably some Giannis next time. It's been a little while. So, yeah. In the meantime, subscribe and rate us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Email us at doubledribblebucks@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at podddb. Yeah, text us, somehow get a hold of us and give us some questions. Give us some mailbag. Until then, go Bucks.